All right, Senate Democrats blasting conditions of facilities that house migrant children.
The president denies the inhumane conditions and treatment of asylum-seeking families and children.
How can we call ourselves the beacon of hope and freedom and to countenance these kinds of conditions?
Have you no shame to mistreat them in our border facilities?
Well, during the first presidential debate in June, many of the candidates visited the Homestead shelter for migrant children down in Miami, protesting the conditions. But our next guest is a pastor who volunteers there and says that they have it all wrong about what's really happening on the inside.
And here with us, Pastor Russell Black, president of the Latin Impact Ministries. Pastor, thanks for joining us this morning. Tell us, what are the conditions inside that shelter?
Good morning. Great to be with you. All I can say is in the last 4 years that I've been working in the shelter, it's actually been overwhelmingly surprising how good the care is at the shelter. When we first started in 2015, we had no idea what would be going on there, and we were surprised at the care, the expense, the concern of the staff and the management of the shelter in making sure the brief stay that the immigrants had in the shelter would be as painless and pleasant as possible. So as I see the print media, the politicians make comments and allegations about the shelter, it blows me away that they don't have the correct picture at all. Many of us have been working there, volunteering for the last 4 years. We've been privileged to be able to conduct religious services there every Saturday morning, and literally thousands of children have passed through our services, and lives have been changed, and many times the kids, we only see them for a couple weeks and then they're gone because they've been processed out of the shelter. You know, one of the allegations that we've heard many times is that they're held there indefinitely for long periods of time. And in my experience, in everything I've observed, the children are as quickly as possibly relocated to a safe family environment, and sometimes it's very quick, sometimes it takes a longer time based on their individual circumstances. But the care that they receive there is phenomenal, and I would hope that if any of my children ever had to experience what these children have had to experience, that they would have that same level of care as well.
Pastor, I know you told our producers that these children, they get a hot shower every day, they get at least 2 pairs of socks, they get personal hygiene items, 3 meals a day prepared in the dining room, and 2 snacks. You also say that the boys and the girls are separated at night, and there's a no-touching policy because many of these individuals have gone through so much already as they've approached the border. As a pastor, I know you get to probably sit down with them. I know you go almost every Saturday. Your group goes every Saturday to do church services and talk to these kids. Usually children will confide in pastors or their youth ministers. If something were happening behind closed doors, do you think you would know about it?
Absolutely, without a moment's hesitation. Not only do we have people there constantly, day in and day out, not in staged visits where tours are conducted, but actually operating there. I've had the privilege of being there not just on Saturdays, but during the week, on spontaneous visits, and it's consistent, the same care that's been taking place. And as a side note, now that it's been several years, we continuously run into children and staff outside the shelter who are now living in the community. Some of them attend our churches, some of them come up to us in public, and many times I've asked them, what was your experience like? And I've never had any of these individuals say that it was was a bad experience.
Pastor, real quickly, I want to ask you, because you're going to get a visit from House Democrats on the Appropriations Committee. Rosa DeLaria, who chairs that, says that she's concerned that the funding under HHS and this Office of Refugee Resettlement is derelict in their duty. Will these lawmakers find dereliction of duty on their soon upcoming visit there?
I can tell you with 100% confidence that there is no dereliction of duty at the shelter. In fact, from the time that we started in 2015 when the shelter first opened until now, I've been proud to and glad to see that that care has improved. It has become even more professional and well done. It's not declining in any way, but to the contrary, it's an incredibly well-run and managed shelter, in my opinion.
Pastor Russell Black, thank you for that insight here, because it certainly paints a different picture than the one we heard from those lawmakers, particularly running for president. We were down in Florida.
Yeah, Pastor, thank you. We all have a heart for those kids, you especially, because you're going down there and visiting.